Hey everyone, this is Tommy again, hoping to bring you another exciting and enticing episode of Cheftovers. We have potato, we have some beef broth, some cheese curds, some nice aromatics, onion and garlic, and we got some fresh basil that's been growing on the back deck. We got some fresh local sausage. We have some duck fat that was given to me courtesy of Santa Claus. And we have some nice mushrooms. And we have some leftover pulled pork. I made this pulled pork in our episode last time when we were doing the smoked Peruvian chicken. I like to put a big roast in of pork or something to maximize the use of my fuel source and to give me lots of meat throughout the week to make another exciting dish. We're gonna make a classic poutine, but we're gonna put our spin on it. And we're going to use our smoked pulled pork to give it that nice smoky flavor. So what I've done here is I've taken some of the aromatics and I've gotten them prepared. What's called a mirepoix. A mirepoix is a classic 3-component balance of aromatics comprised of onions, carrots, and celery. I've also added garlic as well. In addition to that, I'd like to incorporate a beer as I did in prior episodes. In this particular case, because of the savory nature of our flavors, we're talking about sage, we're talking about basil, sage that's in the pork, we're talking about these classic aromatics, nothing that is sweet really. I'd like to let those components shine. So I wanted to pick a beer to work with it that would be very mellow and very balanced, but not overpowering. So I chose Old Busthead's Sugar Czech Pilsner. The reason why I chose this is when I tasted it, it tasted very crisp. It was slightly floral, a little bit earthy and herby, and I thought it would complement the natural herbs very well that we're putting into this. Old Busthead is not a sponsor of this video. They just happen to be local. I really like them. They have great customer service and they have high quality beer and they work really good in my cooking. So I just want to let you know, just wherever you are, support your local establishments. So many of you might be wondering, what the heck is poutine? Poutine is a really simple dish. It comes from Montreal. It consists of French fries, gravy, and cheese curds. That's the most basic poutine you can find. But you can vary it up like we're going to do today, and I think it'll be interesting. Okay, I got my Santa Claus provided duck fat here. Put it on medium-high heat, and I'm going to put 3 tablespoons of duck fat in. Once the duck fat heats up, we're going to add the sausage and extract more fat out of the sausage. I can tell that the duck fat is ready because I can feel right about here, I can feel the heat about 1 inch off. It's hot and ready to take the sausage. So I'm going to go ahead and add the sausage to it. You can hear it sizzle, so another sign that it was ready. We made the right call. Now that we've extracted the flavors out of the sausage into the pan, I'm going to set aside the sausage, put it in a bowl. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to add what we call our aromatics. It is the foundational vegetables and herb elements that go into any dish. A classic aromatic combination is what I said before, a mirepoix: celery, onions, and carrots. Then I have some garlic and some basil. Carrots and onions are going to go first because they're the most durable. Celery's going to come next because it's a little bit less durable. And then finally, the garlic and the basil will go last because they're the most vulnerable, and you need the durable elements to be in there to protect them. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a roux. A roux is basically a combination of fat to flour to liquid, and I'm going to make a roux out of 4 tablespoons of fat, 4 tablespoons of flour, and 2 cups of liquid. And I figure that most people have all-purpose flour around their house. So just go into your pantry and grab your favorite all-purpose flour, add it straight into the fat and aromatic mixture. Once I have all those aromatics, that fat and the flour well integrated together, I'm going to deglaze A little bit of the Choker Pilsner that we talked about earlier. And the glazing is great because it'll get the bits of things that are stuck to the bottom of your pan off, so it'll enrich the flavor and distribute it throughout so you haven't wasted any flavor. And another thing that it'll do is it'll help to clean your pot so you don't have as much of a mess to work with. Now, I'm going to be adding 2 cups of beef stock because the traditional gravy for poutine is based upon brown sauce. So I'm going to be using beef stock. That beef stock has salt in it, so I'm not going to add a lot of salt to this at all. Okay, here's what we have here. We have our gravy that was made from that roux that we just had. You can look at it, it's starting to bubble up. So I'm going to go ahead, we want to let it continue to cook so the aromatics further break down into the gravy. But I'm going to add the sausage back and let the sausage kind of become part of the gravy and kind of continue to break down as well. I'm also going to add some mushrooms and extract some good flavor from them. We're going to let that sit at a relatively low heat, about 3 for maybe 45 minutes. All right, well, we've had this sitting here for about 45 minutes now on a very low heat. And as you can see, it's bubbling up very nicely. I can smell all the components. I can smell the onions. I can smell the basil. I can smell the sage. Everything is just coming together nicely. I'm going to give it a quick taste to see if it matches the flavor profile that I'm looking for before we add the pulled pork barbecue. Oh man, that's fantastic. It's very rich. It's porky. It's beefy. Just the right amount of salt because of the broth. I didn't add too much. I think it's ready. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take 5 russet potatoes and we're going to peel them so that all the skin is gone. It's nice and clean looking. I'll take it to my cutting board and I'm going to cut them into fries. So the first thing you're going to want to do is lay the potato down and cut it in half. Put them down. Now you want to cut them into the width that you want. And I would say it's probably about 1/4 of an inch. It's really whatever you like. The key is consistency. You want it to be the same size for all your fries, as much as possible. Now you lay all your slices down, and you're gonna do the same thing when they're laying down. You're going to cut 1/4 inch, 1/4 inch, put those aside, 1/4 inch, 1/4 inch. Okay, so something I wanna bring to your attention here. You see the knife? If you look at it at the right angle, you can see all kinds of sticky starch on there, right? The potatoes give off a lot of starch, and what that does when you're cooking them, it actually creates a sticky surface and it makes it hard for them to cook properly and keep them from sticking to your cooking vessel. So what I recommend that you do is you take these fresh cut potato fries and you put them in a bag of water. And what it does is it gets all of the starch off the potatoes. Now it's time for a real exciting part of this process, is making the French fries. And what I'm doing is I'm drying off the fries as I put them in the basket so that we don't have any major splash ups and bubbling of the oil. So what we have here is a fry cooker. We got oil up to the line, and we got our candy thermometer reading the temperature of the oil, and it's almost there. We're putting it at about 325 for our first dunk. All right, well, I'm gonna remove the candy thermometer because we're at 325 now, and I'm ready to drop my first batch of fries for their initial dunk. I'm gonna let them run in there for about 3 minutes. I'm gonna pull them out, and I'm gonna do the next batch. Okay, taking the fries out now. I'll let them drip. And as you can see, fries have a slightly golden color. They're not where we want them to be. So I'm gonna fry them a second time after I do the second batch. All right, everybody. Looks like the candy thermometers are reading at 375 now. After my first round, I'm gonna put it in for a second dip at 375 for 4 minutes, because you get a crispier fry when you do it twice. There's a lot of moisture in the potatoes, and when you run it one time and let the steam get off of those first round, then you put it a second time, then you're really gonna get a nice golden crust. You can see these fries are perfect golden, perfectly crispy. You can hear the crunch when you're running your tongs on it. These are ready to pull out. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our fries and we're going to top it on the plate. All right, we got our complete plate of golden fries. Now I'm going to show you how to assemble poutine. You're going to start with some fresh cheese curds. And they are the curd that occurs naturally in milk and in pasteurization. Now poutine, that nice soft gravy, goes perfectly with the squeakiness of the cheese and it mellows it out. We are going to top it with some smoked pulled pork. I've been heating it up, keeping it nice and warm but moist. If you want to keep your pork moist, you can put a little bit of beer at the bottom as you're steaming it. The finishing touches are wonderful gravy that we spent so much time on making sure had all the right elements, all the right aromatics, all the right flavor elements. It absolutely smells delicious and I'm looking forward to eating it. And there you have a wonderful version of poutine. I can taste the sausage, I can taste the sage. Oh man, and combining with these little cheese curds, so tasty. It reminds me of that trip in Montreal we had. I really appreciate your time. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and as always, if you can think of anything that you'd like me to try to do, you got any ideas, feel free to like this, feel free to reach out. Let me know if there's anything interesting you want me to try. Thanks a lot.